The reason the Nigerian Super Eagles lost against Tunisia in the AFCON Cup of Nations is ultimately due to the players who started. Coach Eagle Vaughn of the Super Eagles, I think he started the wrong lineup against Tunisia. Let's start off with, especially with our midfield. Eagle Vaughn started the wrong players in the midfield, and he started some of the wrong players on defense. But let's start off in the midfield. Usually against a team like Tunisia, North African teams who are extremely technical and tactical and compact and physical and fast at the same time, especially on the defensive end, against like a very technical and physical and fast defense like Tunisia, you would need creative and fast midfield. Nigeria's midfield against Tunisia lacked both pace and creativity. There was no creativity and no pace in that midfield against Tunisia. Especially with Coach Eagle Vaughn, he started Joe Aribo and Wilfred Ndidi against Tunisia. Wilfred Ndidi and Joe Aribo were two of our midfielders who started against Tunisia in the African Cup of Nations. And Joe Aribo and Wilfred Ndidi, they both lack pace. They're not fast. And both Wilfred Ndidi and Joe Aribo lack creativity. They aren't playmakers. They aren't the best passers. So they're slow midfielders, and they aren't the best passers, and they're not creative. Against a very defensive team who's compact defensively and technically gifted, like a Tunisia, your midfielders have to be fast and creative. Tunisia, they're a very fast and physical team, so in order for you to outrun them and push for an attack, your midfielders have to be able to push up the field. Joe Aribo is not fast enough to outrun the Tunisia defenders. Wilfred Ndidi is not fast enough to outrun a push for an attack against those fast Tunisian defenders. I'm not knocking Joe Aribo. I'm not knocking Wilfred Ndidi, but I'm just telling you guys the truth. And aside from speed, another way a midfield can triumph and do well against a very compact and technical defense is for your midfielders to be creative on the playmaking side of things. Wilfred Ndidi and Joe Aribo, they're not creative passers. Especially Joe Aribo. Joe Aribo he's not a passer. All Joe Aribo can do is short passes to the wing. Against Tunisia, all Joe Rebo was doing is those short passes to the wing. And it was like, come on. Our wingers against Tunisia, our wingers were getting shut down. Our wingers were obviously getting shut down by the Tunisian defense, and Joe Rebo was still passing the ball to the fucking wingers. It's like, instead of passing the ball to the wingers, the wingers are obviously getting shut down. Pass the ball and through the center of the field. But Joe Rebo, he does not have the skill set to do those long passes, thread the ball through the middle of the field. He's just not a passing midfielder. He doesn't have that skill set. And we need midfielders who have that skill set. And Wilfred Ndidi, I don't expect Wilfred Ndidi to be an amazing passer. Because Wilfred Ndidi, he doesn't play as our number 10 midfielder who, number 10 midfielders are the ones who are the playmakers, who are supposed to distribute the ball in that midfield. Wilfred Ndidi is not a number 10 center midfielder. Wilfred Ndidi is a defensive midfielder. So his duties is more to be on the defensive side of things, but I still think, even our defensive midfielders should have playmaking ability, but I'm not knocking Wilfred Ndidi as much as I'm knocking Joe Rebo. Joe Rebo is supposed to be a playmaker. He's our number 10, right? You can't, I think Coach Ugovan, he made the mistake of starting Joe Rebo and Wilfred Ndidi together. You can't start Joe Rebo and Wilfred Ndidi together in that midfield because they both lack creativity and they both lack speed. Especially against a team that's very technical on defense like a Tunisia and very fast on defense like a Tunisia, you need midfielders who can push forward for an attack to using their speed and pace and to offset the physical defense and the technical defense of a Tunisia. You need players who are creative, who can pass in multiple ways, pass to the wing, pass through the middle of the field, dribble, confuse the Tunisian defense by passing different ways and confuse the Tunisian defense by out-dribbling them, using your dribbling skills to kind of confuse the Tunisian defense. Man, like Joe Rebo, especially Joe Rebo, he's not good enough of a midfielder to be in our midfield. He's too basic of a player. Joe Rebo is too basic of a player. He's a strong player as far as like his defensive presence. He's a strong body in that midfield, but other than that, he really doesn't offer much. He's a basic player. He can't pass the ball in the middle of the field. He can't do long passes. All he can do is short passes. He's not fast. His lack of pace makes it harder for him to push the ball up the field, dribble the ball up the field against fast defenses like a Tunisia. He's not good enough to be a starting midfielder for the Super Eagles. He's just not. To me, he's a basic player. He's a good player, but he's basic. I mean, like we have better playmaking midfielders than Joe Rebo, who were sitting on the bench against Tunisia. I mean, to me, Coach Igor Vaughn, he should have started Alex Iwobi or Kelechi in Wakale over Joe Rebo. To me, both Alex Iwobi and Kelechi in Wakale are better passers, better dribblers, and faster than Joe Rebo. So, yeah, I mean, Joe Rebo, he should not be starting in that midfield. And the game against Tunisia would have showed it. I mean, proved that to us, That game against Tunisia proved that Joe Rebo is not good enough to be our number 10 midfielder or even in the midfield at all against a very technical and tactical, extremely defensive team like a Tunisia. If Coach Igor Vaughn would have started Alex Iwobi instead of Aribo, we could have possibly won that match. One of the main reasons that Nigeria lost that match against Tunisia in the African Cup of Nations is because there was no link in the midfield to create chances for our strikers. Joe Rebo and Wilfred Ndidi, they're not creative players, so they weren't doing a great job. And yeah, they're not great passers, so Joe Rebo and Wilfred Ndidi were not doing a great job transporting that ball up the field because they're slow, they're not fast, and they don't have that playmaking ability to create scoring chances for our strikers. So, there was no link really in that midfield to connect the defense to the offense. We were just passing the ball around like a fucking circus against Tunisia, like pointless passing because our midfield doesn't. Wilfred Ndidi and Joe Rebo are not playmaking midfielders. So they weren't making the right passes. And another reason we lost against Tunisia was because our defense was too basic. Kind of the same situation with our midfield. Coach Igor Vaughn, he started the wrong midfield. And he also started the wrong defense against Tunisia. He started the wrong defense against Tunisia. Chus Ekong and who's that other player? Who's that other defender? I forgot his name. Let me search his name real quick. I forgot his name. Let me see. I'm looking for our other defender who played against Tunisia. Let's see. I'm searching it right now on Google. I'm looking for his name. Let's see. I'm still searching it. Page is loading. Yes, okay. Kenneth Amaruro, that's his name. Our center back defenders against Tunisia were William Chus Ekong and Kenneth Amaruro. Both Ekong and Amaruro, they're too basic of defenders to play against. Yeah, to be starting on our team. You can't start Ekong and Amaruro. You can't play Ekong and Amaruro, on our team at the same time. You can't play those two players at the same time. Just like you can't play Joe Aribo and Ndidi at the same time. You can't play Amaruro and Ekong at the same time. They're physical defenders. They're not bad defenders, but they're basic players. Besides defending, they can't do much else. And in this modern age of football, your defenders need to know how to do more than just defending. In this modern day of football, your defenders need to have an offensive skill set. In this modern age of football, your players, your defenders need to have the ability to make a wide range of passes, and your defenders also need to be able to be like comfortable on the ball, such as having a good first touch and be able to dribble, Ekong and Amaruro, they're just pure defenders. Besides defending, they don't offer much. I've been saying this for a while, I was saying this when Ekong was playing with Balogun, right? And the same thing is happening now, even though Balogun's not playing right now. When Ekong against Tunisia, when I was watching them, when Ekong and Amaruro got the ball on the defensive end, you weren't seeing them pass the ball forward to the midfield. When Amaruro and Ekong got the ball on that defensive end, all you saw was Ekong and Amaruro passing the ball side to side to each other instead of passing the ball forward so the team can push for an attack. All you will see is Kenneth Amaruro and William Truce Ekong passing the ball left and right to each other. Instead of passing the ball left and right to each other, they could have been passing the ball to the midfield. So the midfield can push the ball forward and push for an attack. The link-up play was horrible against Tunisia. Instead of playing Amaruro and Ekong, we have a vast array of defenders who are more dynamic, more comfortable on the ball, better playmaking defenders than Amaruro and Ekong. We could have played Tyrone and Boehi on the defense. We could have played Awazium on the defense. We could have played even Semi Ajayi on defense against Tunisia. We need defenders who have playmaking abilities, who can create scoring chances for the midfielders and strikers on the defensive end. Ekong is horrible on the ball. Ekong, he doesn't have a good first touch. He's not an accurate passer. Whenever you see William Truce Ekong do a long ball, it goes out of bounds or it gets intercepted by defense. So I think Coach Eagle Vaughn should quit it with this Ekong experiment. He doesn't need to be on this team at all, to be honest. And Amaruro, there's better players, more dynamic players who are better on the ball than Amaruro, who can start as defenders. But yeah, Sorry, I had to cough real quick, but yeah, man. Our coach Hugo Vaughn, he just started the wrong players against Tunisia. He should have started players who are more comfortable on the ball, more dynamic, better passers, better playmakers, and faster. Our midfield wasn't fast enough. Our midfield wasn't creative enough against Tunisia, and our defenders against Tunisia were just not creative enough either. We need players in all positions who know how to pass, who are fast and know how to pass, and comfortable on the ball. Nigeria cannot afford to have midfielders who are slow and lack pace and doesn't know how to pass the ball through the middle of the field. Yeah. But all right, you guys, peace.